Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of In the Wheels. Today we are joined by an Australian cyclist who has ambitions for getting back into the track team. She was also formerly of the Jayco Alula setup. She is now currently riding kind of independently, spending some time in Belgium as well as Japan and doing track meets. And she is just truly wonderful to chat to. Really enjoyed it. I hope you like this episode. It is, and we are in the wheels of Alyssa Polites. Hi, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. Really
Oh,
excited to join this
yeah,
week.
yeah. It's always nice to talk to people who've got I think everyone's got a beautiful story within cycling, and I find it interesting when someone's got a kind of non-linear way in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, how did you even get into cycling? Because you're from Melbourne area. If my research is anything to go by.
Yeah, I'm from Melbourne. I used to live a lot closer to the city, and yeah, my dad kind of got us into the sport when we were young. Joined Caulfield Carnegie Club when I was around 11, 12. And then, yeah, kind of got a bit serious when I was 16, 17, and yeah, went pretty well in under 17s, under 19s. Um, Unfortunately, didn't get the opportunity to do junior worlds, but yeah, that's kind of my progression to now.
Yeah, because like you've already mentioned that you kind of got serious about 16, 17. Like, were you
Yeah.
already thinking this could be like my career, or was it still a hobby very much for you?
Yeah, I was never really a sporty kid up until that point. I honestly thought I was going to be an artist. Um, But yeah, that soon changed when I found my competitive streak that my whole family has. So yeah, I think I only kind of saw it as a profession maybe when I was even 19, 20, when I first signed with Jayco, and even thought that was a possibility when it came about. But yeah, before that, I was pretty, green to the sport, I guess, and didn't really
Wow.
know what professionalism was.
It's crazy because you did state champs, you did national champs, like even
Yeah.
as a under 19, you won. I mean, you don't need me to tell you, but for the audience, you won the time trial and the road race, and time trial twice, I think, so both years.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, you're like, I might not make this a career. I might just like that. To me, is crazy. Like being the best in your country, especially a sporting nation like Australia. You know, you've got the AIS, which that started in what '90s and is still churning out like incredible
Yeah.
riders. Um, and yeah, you mentioned you signed for Jayco. Like, how did that come about? Was it because of doing bits as a junior, or how did that conversation start?
Yeah. So I don't know if you're aware with COVID in Melbourne, but basically we're locked down for 2 years. And those 2 years were my under 19 years. So didn't even get the chance to do junior worlds as such.
Mm.
So yeah, when it came to my turn entering under 23s for my first year, we had road nationals. And yeah, I got third in the elite women category, and won the under 23 category as well. So kind of showed myself as potential prospect for the future. And yeah, a lot of teams had a bit of interest. I guess they saw the opportunity, and yeah, um, Joko took the risk and signed me, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it was a really cool opportunity for it to come about, and to be able to say that I was able to sign with the only World Tour Australian team is pretty cool at the age of 19, 20.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said that there were a couple of suitors for you. Like, what made Jayco stand out? Was it that the nationality like shared that really brought it to the next level, or was there something else that just sort of helped as well, nudge it over the line?
Yeah, I think the other teams didn't really feel like home as such,
Mm.
just due to that nationality thing. And also being in the track program, a lot of the track girls were already on JCO, so it kind of just seemed like a no-brainer to be able to, yeah, join JCO, do some road and a bit of track, and kind of find a pathway for my own development and career, achieving that duality of disciplines, which is what I still want to achieve in my career. So yeah, JK was the right fit at that time.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I did see a couple of track results. I tend to use First Cycling, and I don't know how extensive their track like result recording is, but certainly
Yeah,
a decent showing at Milton in the World Cup in Canada.
yeah,
Was that a seventh in the elimination race, which like
I think so.
that is
Yeah.
a dangerous, dicey race. Yeah, I've done a bit of grass track racing, which is like
Oh, cool.
essentially the same, but like on completely flat grass, which is
Oh, sweet.
yeah wild. And I did not like the elimination race. I was usually like first or second out because I was like, well,
Yeah.
I can recover, and everyone else is still got a race. Like I'll just nail the 5K is like meant to be the blue ribbon event
Yeah.
for that. But you also did team pursuit. Um,
Yeah.
is that
So
second? I think you got.
yeah, in Milton that year, which was pretty cool. And they made Commie's selection off that race as well. So
Oh, you did the
yeah,
commies in Birmingham.
yes, yeah, I did.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty yeah, big trajectory out of juniors really. So yeah, that has been a pretty cool journey.
Yeah, and what was that experience like for you going across to race in Birmingham?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's kind of where my bad luck or bad patch started.
Okay.
Um, I had long COVID, 2 weeks leading into it, around about. Um, and yeah, kind of rocked up to the games and yeah, didn't get a chance to ride the team's pursuit just because I wasn't strong enough. And yeah, it was definitely the right decision because the girls ended up getting the games record and the gold medal, which was really cool to experience. Um, so yeah, I ended up racing the scratch race, and yeah, my job was just to kind of lead out one of our yeah, bunch sprinters, and yeah, that was kind of my role in the games. It wasn't meant to be that way per se, but yeah, all in all, it was a really cool experience to be able to gain at such an early age.
Yeah, it sounds like you've already built up such experience because, like, yeah, I know it's traditionally rude to talk of a woman's age, but you are still
Yeah,
really young. Like, you're still under 23 category, aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, that's young people scare me as well. Like anyone the other side of the thousand, like the millennium from me, like is drastically young, and I don't like it. Um, so yeah, like, but it does, like despite or with all this experience, it seems that you've got quite a bit of maturity. And I think there's an Instagram post which talked about like what you consider as success. Um,
Yeah.
I found that really enlightening, and yeah, just I guess for the benefit of everyone listening to this, like, how do you measure success? Because some people use performance, some people use results, but how is it for you?
Yeah, so that little partnership was with Soul Nutrition, my nutrition sponsor, and yeah, when they asked me that question, it was really deep one. Um, but yeah, I think for me, it's definitely happiness as a measure. What makes me feel fulfilled what makes me feel like I have purpose, um, and yeah, I guess satisfaction in what I do. Um, yeah, sports definitely a bit of a roller coaster, and I've been through a lot of ups and downs in my young career already. So yeah, just finding those happy moments and smiles, that's definitely success for me.
Yeah. So, like, I guess what actually brings to happiness to go like one step further, because
Yeah.
some people love just like caning it at the front of a bunch, and that's never going to show up on anyone's results. Like, you know,
Mm.
famously, Michael Barry, who's, I mean, long retired now, but when he was dragging things along for Team Sky and even before then, like, he would just run everyone into the ground. And I
Yeah.
assume he derived quite a lot of happiness out of that, but his results would just show a load of hundredth places because
Yeah.
he did his job early and that was it. Like, so yeah, what kind of brings you happiness on a bike?
Yeah, I think happiness from others, happiness knowing that I fulfilled my role. I've done a couple of years as a domestique like Michael Barry, and yeah, when I thought I did a good job at my role, I was happy with it. So yeah, that kind of gave me happiness. Um, yeah, I think sport, you can really get caught up in results and it can get really consuming. And when things don't, I feel like cycling, especially, it's a sport of luck as well. So when things don't go your way, yeah, sometimes the results aren't going to reflect, yeah, those performances, I guess. So yeah, just trying to find little smiles in every day, I guess, or every race.
Yeah. I guess to go on a wild tangent that I had not planned at all. Like,
Yeah.
is there anything that brings you happiness like outside of cycling? Like, is it music or a bit of film? Because you did say, at the beginning you would have been an artist, so therefore, I consider that to be quite a creative mind who would say that. So
Yeah.
yeah, like, what brings you happiness when you're not cycling?
Um, I do like to get into a bit of drawing. I
Okay.
haven't been really good at that at the moment, just because I'm also studying full time. But yeah, I think just reconnecting with my friends back at home. Not being able to sign a contract in Europe allowed me to have some time to reset at home. So
Hmm.
really took advantage of that and caught up with all my friends and yeah, put energy back into those friendships and relationships. Um, yeah, and also the beach. I love going to the beach. I'm very fortunate to live along the Mornington Peninsula, so yeah, try to get a dip in when I can and go see shell hunting or yeah, just find my inner child. That brings me happiness as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, because again, like, I just had a very quick look at your Insta, but there was a ton of like adventurous type things, like going to, like, is it Kangaroo Island, which is nearby?
Yeah.
That's a seemingly crazy place. Um and certainly not somewhere, that the everyday person tends to go. Um and yeah, like, it's kind of crazy as well that I've spoken to a couple of, or I say a couple, probably just one actually, Melburnian
Yeah.
before in Sarah Gigante, um,
Yeah.
and because she was in the Brunswick team. Is there like any
Yeah.
rivalry between Caulfield Carnegie and Brunswick, or is it just we're just two clubs who exist? Like,
Generally, yeah, back in the day when there was like a little national junior track series, it was called. Not sure what it's called now. Those usually against Caulfield, Carnegie, and Brunswick, and sometimes Blackburn would enter the chat. But yeah, it was usually us two clubs dealing it out for the club title, I guess. But yeah, no, they're a pretty successful club as well.
who would come out on top in those sort of, yeah, that one on one?
I mean, Brunswick did have Plappy, Ruby, and Sir Gigante, so I mean, them three alone are very established. So yeah, it's tough competition racing against them. But yeah, generally maybe Brunswick. But yeah, when they kind of faded out of the junior categories, it ended up being Caulfield Carnegie. Had some strong riders. So yeah, that was good fun.
Yeah, yeah. It Ruby was the other one. I knew there was two,
Yes.
but and I knew it wasn't Luke. But I just couldn't
Yeah.
think who the third person from
Yeah.
Brunswick was. It's kind of weird that like yeah, there's this kind of collocation as well of great riders all coming from Melbourne. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of yeah, it's all yeah interesting for me, if not for anyone
Yeah.
else. Um, but yeah, you've said there's been ups and downs in your career, and obviously signing for Jayco was a huge high, but kind of I guess a shock to me was the fact
Mm.
that you left Jayco. And I was curious if you could shed light onto why that was, and kind of yeah, what led to that, if that's something you can talk about.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, the first year, I think I was just still trying to get over my long COVID, or whatever underlying health issue I had, which they weren't able to diagnose, unfortunately. Um, yeah, it kind of just didn't let me train to where I needed to be able to perform in the World Tour Peloton. Um, and yeah, I did get a few race starts to try speed up the process of getting fit, but it just wasn't working. And then yeah, towards the end of that season, my first season as a pro, I had a really bad crash in Lavinia
Mm.
and ruptured my spleen, which is yeah not a good one to do. It's a organ that's full of capillaries, so could basically bleed to death. Um, yeah, so had to recover that leading into the next season. So yeah, coming into the next season, I was kind of already on the back foot a little bit. Changed coach, and yeah, it was just a lot of crashes, a lot of punctures, mechanicals. That just kind of hindered my season again. So yeah, my pro cycling stats doesn't look very impressive for those two seasons. And yeah, I think there was no bad blood between me and Joko to make that decision to not sign me again. Um, I think it was at the end of the day a big risk to take me on, not having any international experience prior to yeah coming into Europe for my first year as a pro in 2023. And yeah, it's maybe something I revisit. Hopefully, one day I can join again. But yeah, I think timing's key, and if it comes about, it comes about. Or if there's a new team that is a better fit for me, and allows me to have that development, then yeah, maybe that's a pathway for me. But yeah, definitely no blood between me and Joko.
Oh well, I'm glad there wasn't. Yeah, because I think yeah, I think I was actually like I was picking my daughter up from nursery or something. I just happened to be scrolling and I saw your announcement. I was like, oh, that's weird, and it
Yeah.
almost sounded like you were retiring, which I was like,
No.
she's 21, like, or like
Yeah.
she's young, like she should not be talking about retiring, but that's how it like it had the air of that to me.
Mm.
Um, it's kind of yeah shocking, and it sounded like yeah last year if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. Um, to be honest. Um,
Literally, yeah.
but this year you started super strong. Again,
Yeah.
it feels weird telling you this. It's like you know this,
No,
like you were
no,
there.
no.
But
It's
like
okay.
Tour Down Under, you won Queen of the Mountains,
Yeah.
which is to get a jersey from a World Tour race is a World Tour race. Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
is a little
Sorry,
tour,
I confused
yeah.
myself just for a sec.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, to get a jersey from a World Tour race is takes some doing. No matter what the
Mm.
jersey is, like even to get like the Maillot Rouge or whatever the equivalent would be, like just to be the last finisher would be an achievement. Let alone to win one
Exactly.
where you have to win, going uphill quick. Um,
Yeah.
so you started super strong, and also your Tour of Tasmania result was that a fourth on GC? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so again, like super strong riding. Do you see yourself as a bit of a more of a climber than a sprinter? Because like it's weird, like track tends to be the sort of powerhouses and the sprinters, like Ruby, for
Yeah.
example, and Alex
Yeah.
Manley, and all that.
George Baker.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like great sprinters, great turn of
Yeah.
speed, because you have to have that for the team pursuit. You can't be
Yeah.
a sort of tiny climber type who, you know, Nairo Quintana is never doing a team pursuit. Let's put it that way.
No.
I couldn't think
Yeah.
of a female equivalent, but I guess Emma Pooley back in the day, that sort of thing. Um, but like, how do you see yourself as a rider, and also like, how do you feel the year's been going for you?
Yeah. I see myself as a type of all-rounder,
Hmm.
maybe a punchier rider. I only just learnt that term the other day,
Ooh,
so trying to slip it in my vocab there.
yeah.
Yeah, I can time trial. I'm not the strongest sprinter, like I barely hit over 1,000 watts. Um, and yeah, I feel like I'm pretty crafty in the bunch. I'm able to read a race well. And that, yeah, I think that's why I do so well in the elimination races and the chaotic races like the Madison.
Mm.
Um, just yeah, that quick decision making and getting through traffic, not having that fear, I guess. Um, yeah, I forgot the second part of your question.
Oh,
Sorry.
just like how's the season been going for you? Because I've told this
Yeah,
sort of objective tale of what the results tell me,
yeah,
but I'm equally not you. I've not been in that position. I don't know how the year felt for you. So how do you feel
yeah,
the year's been going?
yeah, yeah. It was definitely a strong start. I think the road nationals road race was an interesting one.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, a lot of the girls didn't really know how to, or I mean, the whole peloton in every category didn't really know how to tackle the course as such and like how much time to let go, whatever. So, yeah, that result was a little bit frustrating. But yeah, well deserved by our new national champ, Lucy Stewart, which is really cool to see in the polo. Um, yeah, and then I kind of went into TDU, got the Crom jersey, and the Surf Coast Classic before Cadel Evans. Did pretty good there. And yeah, came into Cadell's as the leader and unfortunately had a nasty crash, which led to a concussion for 1.5 months. Um, so yeah, I wasn't able to do the whole Pro Valley series. Oh,
Hello, sorry to interrupt. There was just a bit of a tech hiccup around there, he says, as he does his own manual hiccup, just to emphasize the point. Um, these things sometimes happen, so apologies for the disjointed nature. Um, but now let's get back to it. You were talking about how Road Nationals was weird, and that's when it stopped. So
yeah.
I have no idea what you were going to say. I have ideas,
No.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think yeah, it was a little bit frustrating with that result. But obviously, yeah, super happy and proud of our new national champ, Lucy Stewart. It was really well deserved. And then yeah, kind of lead into TDU, got the Quam jersey, which was pretty sick. And then Surf Coast Classic before Cadell's. Um, kind of plans changed. We had the plan coming into that race to sprint for Maeve. And then unfortunately, yeah, she had some mechanical issues. So yeah, kind of went onto my shoulders. Um, and yeah, kind of got bullied out of that sprint. It was the first time being in the pointy end of a race. And yeah, I think got top 20 or something there. Can't remember exactly. Um, And then yeah, came into Cadell's and like were really eager to put me as leader and work for me. I had some really good form and yeah, I really wanted it. Well, I just wanted to see how far I could get with yeah, best of the best that came to Australia.
Hmm.
And yeah, unfortunately, I had a mid-race stack made and I and ended up tapping my head, which led to a month and a half concussion. So yeah, not the nicest. Um, so yeah, that kind of hindered my ability to race the Pro Velo series. So yeah, when I came
Hmm.
into Tour of Taz, I was primarily support for Keely Bennett um, for her JC ambitions. So yeah, ended up getting fourth still, which was pretty cool. Um, and yeah, I only got to do the Queensland tour after that. Um, and yeah, again, I was support for JC for Lauren Bates, and she did really well, got third, which was also really cool to see. And then yeah, went straight into track nationals and did pretty well there. So
Nice.
yeah, it's been an all right summer. Could be a lot worse, but yeah, definitely some success there for sure.
Yeah, yeah, certainly some success. I mean, I'm glad the concussion wasn't as, you know, I mean, it still sounds pretty bad, but it could have, again, worse. Um, was the Pro Evo series, was that the one where, like, if you win it, you end up with a contract with Jayco, of all teams?
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, they're like, I mean, just like a boomerang, you're coming back. Like, they try and get rid of you, and they just can't. Um,
Yeah.
would have been so funny though. Like,
Yeah, a lot of people said like, surely you try win it just so you could be like, I'm back.
yeah,
But yeah, again, no bad blood. Would
no,
have
it
been
just would have been.
cool. Would have been funny, a bit awkward, but yeah.
I guess after what has been quite a stellar start to your year, what are your goals for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so again, I don't have a team over in Europe, but kind of came here myself and back in January did a bit of damage control. I was like, right, I'm gonna give myself some structure for the rest of the year. Like I've got Pro Velo until the end of March. I've got to give myself some goals to set for the rest of the year and some how do you say some goals that were achievable in my head was on the track. I really want to make it back into that squad. So yeah, I was kind of like, how am I going to prove myself? I was like, oh, stuff it. I'll just do some international racing. I'll do it all on my own. I've saved enough money to support myself. And if I can hustle and get some sponsors on board to support my journey in doing so, then that's a bonus. But yeah, kind of just penciled in some track racing. So I did Ghent track open meeting
Mm.
the other month. And yeah, that was in Belgium. And then I've got Japan at the end of this month, which I'm really excited about. And the Australian cycling team will be supporting me in that. So that's a huge help.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll be representing Australia. And then to finish off my little Europe stint, I'll do the 2 6 days in Italy. So there's Ferranzola, and I forgot the other one. I think it's like Pradorn or something.
Okay.
And that goes from the end of July into the first week of August, and then I'll fly back home and get stuck into uni, and yeah, hopefully maybe go to Chile for World Championships for the track.
Mm.
But yeah, that's all TBC.
I have many questions that have just spun from that already, which
Yeah,
is kind of
sorry.
frustrating because I don't know which one to go with first. But I
Yeah,
guess let's go with Italy first because I
yeah.
remember I'm gonna sound like such a stalker. I'm sorry,
No,
but
no,
like
no.
I
It's
spent
okay.
a bit of time on Insta, like just getting
Yeah,
in case there's any interesting questions, and
yeah,
this
for
is one of
sure.
them. So clearly it worked. I noticed that you had some Italian in like some of the Instagram captions. I think
Yeah.
one for, I'm guessing Easter. I can't remember enough to know whether it's Easter or not. But
Yeah.
I know you had it in, I want to say Greek as well.
Yeah.
So it's Greek and Italian. Is
Yes.
that like your heritage? How do those languages, I guess, feature in your life?
Yeah. So my mum's half, well, Sicilian, Italian,
Hmm.
and Yugoslavian, and my dad is fully Greek. So they were both born in Australia, but obviously my grandparents were born in their respective countries, and then they came to Australia when they were teenagers. So yeah, we all live in Australia. I am Australian, but yeah, I do have that heritage, and I do take an interest in especially Italian. I do like learning that language. I think it's a really pretty language and a lot easier to pick up than Greek with their own
Yeah.
alphabet and everything. So yeah, it's a bit lazy of me, but yeah,
Were
that's where it
you
comes from.
like, were there attempts to bring you up as a kind of bilingual or trilingual child, or was it just she'll find her own way and kind of calm way about it?
Yeah, well, both my parents, they didn't speak it to both my brother
Ah.
and I. My yeah, and Papu, my great grandparents, they yeah talked to us when we were like really young, all in
Mhm.
Greek, and I think then we could understand it pretty much fluently. Maybe not speak it back, but could
Yeah.
understand. Now I don't understand anything
Mhm.
in Greek. But in Italian, I can understand more than I can speak. So yeah, wasn't talked to in either of the languages, but only now I'm sort of taking an interest to learn it myself a little bit.
Yeah. Weirdest tangent, but yeah, I
No.
know like what I knew Yaya and Papu. Um, I also know like Yasu is like hello and
Yeah,
goodbye in the same way
yeah,
that ciao is for Italian.
yeah.
And I only know that because of the Wiggles of all
there,
things.
there you go.
Because yeah, my kids love the Wiggles, who are actually in the UK like now, which is really
Oh,
annoying because we
cool.
can't go and see them. But yeah, like Lucia, which is Anthony's daughter, they're both for Blue Wiggle at the moment. I don't know how into the law you are, but we've
No.
ended up really into the law by proxy. Um,
Oh, wow.
but like, yeah, Anthony married a Greek woman, which is why Lucia can speak Greek as well.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
yeah. Um, so I and they sometimes speak it in the Wiggles on YouTube and things. So yeah, I've ended up like accidentally learning languages.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe I need to get onto that bandwagon.
yeah, yeah. 'Cause, like I think there's a Greek school. I'm gonna guess it's in Sydney. I can't remember which city they showed,
Yeah,
but
okay.
there was like a Greek special school for kids because I guess there is a fair bit of Greek diaspora in Australia. Um,
Yeah.
Not the easiest
Wait,
place to reach, but okay. Like,
yeah, literally. Oh, there is a lot of Greek schools, um,
mhm,
especially where I went to primary school and high school in
yeah.
Oakley in Melbourne. That's kind of known as the Greek hub of, yeah, Victoria, I guess. But yeah, thankfully my parents didn't send me off to Greek school because that's an extra day of school that I wouldn't have wanted to do. So
Yeah, yeah, I remember that that sort of thing when I was growing up as well. Like, nope, not doing any
no,
extra, not if I can
no,
help it.
exactly.
Um, the other thing I was going to mention was about tracks because you mentioned you race in Ghent, which is quite famous for the 167-meter Tekirpke track, and you know you end up with all sorts of weird and wonderful sized tracks. Like I can't remember where it was now, but the Europeans when it was in Germany, obviously you wouldn't have done it, but when it
Mhm.
was in Germany, they used like a 300-meter track or something
Okay.
slightly longer, and then
Yeah.
they did it 1 year in Guadeloupe because that's technically France,
Hmm.
but nowhere near France. Um, they used it as an outdoor 333-meter track, so
Yeah.
I guess the TP would be what 12 laps instead of 16.
Yeah, something like
But
that.
there'd be like
Quick one.
longer turns. Uh,
Yeah.
that would hurt, I guess. But like,
Yeah, for sure.
when you go to race like a bunch race on it, like, do you consciously change how you race because of a different lap length, or do you kind of just keep it kind of generally the same?
Yeah, so to even make it more complicated, every engineer that works on velodromes has their own little, like, yeah, flair, I guess. And some like to make the bends longer and the straights shorter. Others like to have long straights and short bends. I'd rather, yeah, the short bends because you can kind of like slingshot out a lot
Mm,
quicker. So yeah, that makes it a lot easier to kind of move up in the peloton, I think. Again, I'm just getting back into the track space, so I'm trying to dust off my rustiness. Whereas the longer bends, you find a little bit more of a drag to kind of come around the velodrome. So in Ghent, for example, we went on the 167-meter track. I think, yeah, it was just the standard 250.
oh,
But yeah, everyone found it really hard to come round the bunch, whether it be in the straight or the bend. It was just, yeah, the pace was like really high at this track meeting. A lot of the girls said it's borderline harder than the Olympics with the Omnium race. So yeah, that made me feel a lot better about myself. But yeah, like every track's different. So yeah, depending on how it's been engineered, you kind of like change the way you approach to move up in the peloton or attack. Um, yeah, how you use the banking for more speed. It's all, yeah, especially in the TP too. You change where you swing off
mm,
in the bends. Yeah, if you compare like each world championship, like maybe the rider at the front swings off at the 200-meter line, whereas on another velodrome they're swinging like at the entry of the bend. It's all very different.
yeah, and I kind of love the team pursuit just because it's so dependent on the riders, and like
Yeah,
you can still come in with a plan, but then if a rider's not got good legs, then that plan is on the floor and out the window, and
exactly.
it can go horrendously wrong. And there's even a science element to it, but it's kind of there's still an art, and the science
Yeah,
can go wrong. It's not just, well, they're quicker on paper, done, like
exactly.
no bother racing. And then you get like, I don't know whether you're aware of them, whether they're before your time or not, but when they had what was originally the Karen Green Foundation team, it later became like Team Hoob, I think. I want to pronounce
Okay,
it that way. It's like Dan Bigham and mates, essentially, like a
okay,
group of
that's
lads
sick.
from Derby in the UK. Uh, and they're part of the reason why Nation Cups are nation teams only and no longer allowed to have trade teams.
Okay,
Um,
that's interesting.
because it used to be trade teams back in the day, like 2006 or whatever.
Yeah,
Like you used to have like the Russians would have like the national team, but they'd also have like a Katusha
interesting.
or something similar,
Yeah,
like a trade team
okay,
as a sort of
that's
second Russia.
cool. Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like the way they did the team pursuit was like they just had one guy who they found out like it didn't matter if he was at the back of a four or at the
okay,
front, he would still tire just about the same
yeah,
and only be useful for them for 6 laps, regardless of where he was and if he
mm,
swung off. So
yeah,
he just drilled it for 6 laps and dropped out, and that was it. And then they
yeah,
did the rest, what, the other 10? Yeah, so
yeah,
2.5 kilos just with free.
yeah,
But because that was the plan, they knew how to ride that as well because they
yeah.
practiced it a lot. And yeah,
Sure.
for him, like it made no difference whether it's at the front or the back. Like he still would
Yeah,
only have enough gas for six. So
yeah,
might as well
exactly.
just absolutely rinse him for the first
Peel
six.
off.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really weird, and like they'd do other weird stuff, like the second rider would peel off.
yeah, there's been a few experimental
Yeah,
things, but
and I
yeah,
kind
at
of
the
love
end of
that.
Yeah, even the gears, I think that's
Mm,
even more interesting. Um, you've gone from like spinning your bum off, but like we do it in inches. But yeah, say like 90 inches, spinning, yeah, like crazy cadence, like up to maybe 140 RPM, 150. Try and sit on that for like 16 laps. To now, like some of the girls are riding 120 inches plus, which we would do like we call them RAC efforts, which you basically it's like high torque, low cadence efforts, and
mm.
you kind of do them seated. And that would be like the gearing you'd use for those efforts, but we're using those gears for now doing a team's pursuit, and it's just yeah, blows my mind. Even like
Yeah.
within the 2-3 years I've been out of this space, it's yeah, grown so much.
Yeah, and I bet like the first sort of women's team pursuit, if you told them you were spinning 90 inches, they'd be like,
Yeah,
that's a big gear. And then
yeah,
as people turn
exactly.
bigger, like I'm just thinking like yeah, I don't ride my bike often, but like I'll have to ride it to a train station like once a week, you know.
Yeah,
And like getting started, obviously you use an easier gear and then click up and get
yeah,
going when you're up to speed. You cannot do that on a track bike.
no,
How like because you're having like these low cadence high torque like gearings,
yeah,
how do you even get started, like because you've got to get that going, but that
yeah,
also has to be something that you're doing what 100 rpm, maybe a bit more, at
yeah,
60k an hour or whatever speed you end up going. Like
yeah,
how do you even start, like
yeah. A lot of caffeine, some bicarb. No. Yeah, I think the gate start technique is really important, and
mm,
just being able to switch on like that. Um, yeah, gate starter gonna have really good technique to throw it. Then everyone's gonna try roll on as quick as they can to get that drag and draft, to make it easier on themselves before they, yeah, everyone gets to speed. But yeah, it's mostly technique,
mm.
and yeah, I guess like adrenaline does a lot of things for you.
Yeah. And one question I do tend to ask, but I
Mm,
guess for a track perspective, like
yeah.
what actually goes through your mind during a TP? Like, are you, for want of a better word, like conscious of the outside? Or is it like,
Mm,
yeah, just what is even going through your mind? Because, like, to me, I'd just be like, I'd probably use stronger language, but blimey, this
yeah.
hurts quite a bit.
Yes.
Maybe the message, how I express it, maybe differs, but you get the
Yeah.
idea. Um, yeah, what goes through your mind during that?
There's a few things. I think one big thing in particular would be aero. Um,
Okay.
yeah, where's my head placement? Where's my hand placement? How's my line? Like, gotta keep it as smooth as possible. Um, I think one the most overarching thought that goes in my head when I'm on the front is, oh, where am I swinging up? Like, okay, I've done one lap, and now I'm gonna do a half lap. So it's not this bend; it's the other bend. Yeah, there's been a couple instances where I've done half a lap more than what I was supposed to, just because I was a bit disorientated. And yeah, didn't really realize. Um, but yeah, I think those sort of cues are the big ones, I guess. And obviously your lap schedule. So usually the coach inside the track that kind of holds up the board.
Mm.
There'll be like a color system. So green's good, you're like on schedule. Red's like, oh, you're a little bit like over schedule, like going a bit slow. And then black's like, oh, you're going really slow, like really get your A into G. um, and then you've got blue, which is like, whoa, 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 you're going like way too hot. Calm down. So yeah, I think a combination of all those things. That's what's going on in our heads as team pursuiters.
That sounds like a lot to
Yes.
obviously with practice it must get easier, but to me, I'm like, that's a lot when you're going through pain at however fast. Let's just call it 60k an hour.
Yeah.
Like, you know, as fast as traffic in a city,
Yeah.
you're going that fast, having to worry about not clipping the rider ahead or behind you,
Yeah.
swinging up at the right time,
Yes.
adjusting if someone swings up too early or too late, and
Yeah.
I guess you have to have plans for, you know, say Alyssa does another half a lap by mistake again. Like, what do we do? Like, how do we get back to this? Like, do you still do the lap and a half that you were meant to do? Do you just do a lap and cut the
Yeah.
half and then call it quits? But then you've got more energy now and it's in balance. And
Yeah, it's a
oh,
lot.
I'm giving myself a headache and I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
and you
very
make it look
stressful.
so easy. Like,
Yeah.
'cause a perfect team pursuit, like it's like a duck. Like it looks so
Yeah.
serene and graceful,
Yeah.
and under the hood, you're just like panicking.
Ah.
Yeah, screaming like, "Oh no, ah, that would just yeah, yeah." I'm glad I never got good at doing that. I just,
Yeah,
ah,
I think it makes it easier when you train with each other, like, regularly, because you
hmm
kind of, like, subconsciously know where everyone's at, you know how to read their body language, and, yeah, if you end up doing half a lap more, knowing that, like, someone's, like, really struggling, then it kinda gives them a buyout of doing that half a lap less, so it kind of
mm,
evens out that way. But, yeah, we do a lot of training to kind of, yeah, um come to those decisions and yeah, what's a good one, what's a bad one, debrief every session. So yeah, big mistakes don't happen on race day, and it all looks flawless and seamless for you guys to watch.
yeah. Oh, I just remembered the crazy tech the Americans tried one year. I don't know where they had the chain ring on the other side of the bike.
Yeah, yeah,
That was wild. I don't know if they
yeah.
still do it. I yeah, it just
I think
looks
the
wrong.
Japanese
Like
bikes do.
yeah,
Pretty
but
sure.
it's one of those that like it just looks wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing stopping anyone trying it.
No.
But I guess once you've been watching cycling for so long, you're just like, oh, it's kind of
it's not
liminal,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
uncanny valley type looking thing. You're like, mm, not sure it's meant to look like that, but okay.
Yeah,
Um,
even the chainring sizes, like I think
yeah,
maybe 5, 6 years ago, they're like, oh, the bigger the chainring, the more efficient your drive chain is. Where in actual fact, like maybe it'll save you 1 watt, 2 watts. Like it's all
but
like the
then that,
one percenters. Yeah.
yeah,
Um.
but does it?
Yeah.
Because I'd want to go as small as I can on the back because then
Yeah.
you can have a smaller front, which then is less weight. I
Yeah.
don't, mind you,
Exactly.
I'm not an aerodynamicist. I'm not
Yeah.
anyone
Either am
who's
I.
like, it's just what I think. Um, please
Yeah.
don't like act on any of my advice. It is
No.
non-binding. I
Not
cannot
mine
be held
either.
accountable. Um, so yeah, it'd be crazy to see you getting a shot at Worlds. It'd be really awesome to see you do that. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, like the final question I tend to ask is
Mhm.
just like, how can people follow you, keep up with you, so they can see what you're doing this year? Because obviously there's lots going on, and without a team, it's kind of sometimes goes hidden and under the radar. And I
Yeah.
want to celebrate what you're going to be up to. So yeah, how can people find you on social media and the like?
Yeah. So usually I'm most active on Instagram and my handle is just Alyssa Polites, my full name. Yeah, I guess that's the best bet to see me on. Um, I don't really use any other social media. I've got Facebook just to download my Belgie
Mhm.
snapshots from kermesses. So that's about all I use it for. But I do have a Facebook, I guess. But yeah, I'd say go follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on there, and yeah, hopefully I've got some exciting news to come. Yeah, I really hope I can join the road peloton again next year. But yeah, for now it'll be primarily track cycling, and that's okay.
Yeah, so mostly track and hopefully a chance to get you to see you using your puncher legs. Um,
Yes.
you know, ripping it up at, I don't know, Amstel Gold next year would be good.
Yeah, I would love
It's kind of
that.
that is a proper puncher's like. If I hear the word
Yeah,
puncher, I'm like Amstel Gold. Like
it's
that's
goal.
like
Yeah,
yeah, just a
I do.
stereotypical race.
Yeah, I did Antwerp Port Epic last year and like really enjoyed that. So yeah, would
Oh,
love
nice.
little couple classics. I can see myself being a couple muncher, so yeah. Definitely give me like the most gnarliest, brutalist race and I'll love it.
Yeah, and that is a new term I will definitely use in the future to
Couple
refer
muncher.
to people. Yeah, just I don't know, instant classic term. I've got to like, yeah, I've got to work that into some places now. Um, yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, Jenny, I can't wait to see how the rest of this year pans out for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It was a really nice opportunity and yeah, good to reflect. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. It's just, yeah, really nice to chat to her. She's a great cyclist, even better person. So, yeah, just if you could like, subscribe, whatever you can to show your appreciation of this episode and any else of our back content, that would be great. And until next time, we'll see you around.